Tonight on YCN News, the future of GMO labeling tries to stay bright as local politicians fight against the DARK Act. Solar power aims to harness the power of the sun for Windsor, Vermont residents. And Lebanon Junior Legion Baseball versus Plymouth. Find out the results from their matchup just last night. For more news, weather, and sports, stay tuned for YCN News, bringing you your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, everyone. It is Friday, July 24th. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Kurt Weedy, and this is YCN News. New tonight, there could be a wrinkle in the plan regarding genetically modified organism food product labeling. Yesterday in the nation's capital, the U.S. House of Representatives voted 275 to 150 to block states from mandating that food manufacturers label any product that contains such GMOs. The bill, known as the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act of 2015, would make it voluntary to label foods with GMO ingredients in them. Vermont, Maine, and Connecticut have laws in place requiring this labeling. Vermont's plan was set to go into effect July 1st of 2016. Now, yesterday's bill was sponsored by Republican Representative Mike Pompeo of Kansas. Pompeo says that mandatory labeling costs will be passed on to consumers. GMOs are not unhealthy in food, per the Food and Drug Administration, Pompeo says. U.S. Representative from Vermont Peter Welch voted against the bill, according to The Hill newspaper. Bill opponents call it the DARK Act. Peter Welch posted on his Twitter feed how he feels about the vote, which he wasn't in favor of. DARK is an acronym for Denying Americans the Right to Know Act. Well, the U.S. Senate has extended a loan program aimed at helping small businesses. New Hampshire Senator Jeanne Shaheen led the way for renewal of the SBA loan plan. Shaheen is the ranking member of the administration Senate Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee. Her Republican colleague, Senator David Vitter of Louisiana, also supported extending the loan program, according to a news release. The yearly cap for all loans approved is $18.5 billion. Now also, up to $23 billion in loans will now be possible. The program is funded through business user fees and does not cost taxpayers 1 cent. Former New Hampshire House Speaker Bill O'Brien is leaving the public sector for a job at a private technology firm. O'Brien is now in his 5th term as a state lawmaker. In 2011 and 2012, he led the House as Speaker. O'Brien and House colleague Stephen Stepanek bought the company Brain Loop Incorporated. Stepanek, who represents Amherst, is also in his 5th term as a state representative. On the crime beat, 2 Vermont men are charged by police for their alleged role in stabbing a man in the stomach this past Monday. Police were called to Brattleboro Memorial Hospital after 31-year-old Timothy Fellows of Brattleboro came into the hospital's emergency room with a stomach wound. He was in stable condition at the time and told police what happened earlier that evening. Fellows later was taken to Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon and underwent surgery at that location. Fellows has since been released from the hospital. Police have charged 31-year-old Oscar Cruz of Townshend, Vermont, and 32-year-old Daniel Butler of Putney, Vermont, for their role in the fight that led to the stabbing. Police records show that the fight happened at the home in Townshend, shared by Cruz and Cassidy Grover on Route 30. Fellows and Butler went to Cruz's home around 11 p.m. on July 20th to confront him in reference to a relationship involving Grover. It was reported that Fellows and Cruz had earlier passed threatening messages back and forth to one another. Animosity between Fellows and Cruz then escalated, resulting in Fellows being stabbed in the stomach with a kitchen knife, allegedly by Cruz. Now, during the fight, Cruz was hit in the face, suffering numerous cuts when Fellows fought back, according to police. Cruz told police Butler struck him in the face with the butt end of a shotgun. Cruz must appear in court on charge of aggravated assault. Meanwhile, Butler is charged with aggravated assault as well, burglary, reckless endangerment, and providing false information. Butler is being held in the Southern State Correctional Facility in Springfield, Vermont, for lack of $10,000 bail. Further charges are pending tonight, police say. Anyone with additional information about this case are encouraged to contact the Vermont State Police at its Brattleboro station. That number, of course, is 802-254-2382. Well, coming up next on YCN News, History Channel's hit show American Pickers is coming to Vermont. If you want to be on the show and make your television debut, stick around after the break.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News, everyone. Thank you for staying with us on this Friday evening. I'm Kurt Weedy. Attention all canines in Heartland, Vermont. Keep your ears perked for this one. An animal control officer in the town is traveling from house to house, making sure that every dog in the town is registered. The purpose of these checks are to make sure that each canine has an owner and that none have rabies. These checks are being conducted by Tammy Stammers, who is the newly elected constable of the town and has only just begun the systematic surveys. That according to the Valley News newspaper. But this process is not without backlash, as residents are citing a violation of their privacy rights. Heartland Town Manager Bob Stacy has justified the checks, claiming they enforce public safety. The surveys will continue for the coming months as residents look for a more efficient and less invasive method to do the checks, including mail or telephone. Town officials and residents continue tonight to try to find the balance of public safety and privacy. Well, sticking in Vermont, this time in Hartford. That town is in the early stages of looking for a new town manager. Current town manager Hunter Reesberg is leaving when his contract expires in September of next year, according to the Valley News. The search for a new town manager is on, though the Hartford Select Board is already fielding criticism about the way in which it formed a selection committee. Now, as part of a broader effort to engage residents in local governance, the Select Board created a 9-member committee made up of people from Hartford's 5 villages. Those are Hartford, Queechee, West Hartford, White River Junction, and Wilder. The committee is tasked with soliciting and evaluating applicants to replace town manager Hunter Reesberg, who, again, his contract expires on September of 2016. The advisory committee will eventually recommend 5 finalists, though the Select Board retains the authority to hire anyone it chooses. Green Mountain Power, in conjunction with the State Department of Buildings and Grounds, is proposing a 4.25 megawatt solar array for a portion of the Southeast State Correctional Facility property. The application is filed under the purview of the Public Utility Commission. A public forum is scheduled for Thursday, August 6th at 7 p.m. at the Windsor Welcome Center. Now, the purpose of this forum is to learn about the project from representatives of Green Mountain Power, as well as the installer of the project, Grow Solar. Attendees will have an opportunity to ask questions and make comments on the new project. Windsor On Air Television will be filming the forum, and that program will be viewable on their channel by 7 o'clock the following Friday. Well, on the same night, in the same building, there will be a separate event happening that also focuses on solar power. The group Vital Communities will be hosting a finance night to explain to interested individuals how solar energy can work for them. Vital Communities has established a solar community which covers Windsor, Brownsville, Cavendish, Reading, and Wethersfield, entitled Solar Makes Sense. The event on August 6th will focus on how you can save money by going solar and how you can set up a free site visit for your own potential solar site. For more information on this, you can visit vitalcommunities.org/energy/solarize. And finally, fans of the History Channel and history itself are probably familiar with the show American Pickers. Have you ever wanted hosts Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz to pick through your old valuables? Well, now is your chance. The American Pickers team is filming in Vermont next month, and Vermonters have the opportunity to show off their stash and have it examined for rusty gold. If you are interested, or if you know someone who is, you can email the team at americanpickers@cineflix.com or leave a message at 1-855-OLD-RUST. Make sure to provide details as to what you are offering, and if your collection is enticing enough, the crew will swing by and you can make your television debut. Well, coming up next on YCN News, we head over to the New London Historical Society as Kearsarge Chronicle host Lynn Solomon speaks with Kelly Bogan. She talks about how the past enriches our very own future. That's after the break.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Mike Pizzone. Well, if you plan on doing anything outside this weekend, it looks like Saturday's the clear pick, with rain and storms expected to hit through much of the day Sunday. Any showers tonight should wrap up by about 8, with otherwise partly cloudy skies and a low of about 55 degrees. Things will start out nice enough tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and a high of 78 during the day, before clouds eventually work their way overhead after about 10 p.m., bringing with them a 50% chance for showers and a low of 61 degrees. Those showers will stick around throughout the day Sunday and could even generate some thunderstorms, with a high of 78 during the day and a low of 62 Sunday evening. Now let's see what's happening this weekend in the area with a quick look at our community calendar. The New London Garden Club's 49th annual Antique Show and Sale will be held tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Town Green on Main Street in New London, New Hampshire. Admission is $8 per person and the event will be held rain or shine. Singer-songwriter Alex Smith will be performing a fundraiser concert for the Windsor Public Library tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Snapdragon Inn on Main Street in Windsor, Vermont. Cost is $10 per person. Farmers markets in Windsor and Springfield, Vermont will be held tomorrow, with Windsor's taking place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the State Street Green, and Springfield's happening from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the People's United Bank parking lot. With next week's state tournament right around the corner, I headed up to Lebanon, New Hampshire last night to watch the town's Junior Legion baseball team in one of its final games of the regular season.
Lebanon headed into its second-to-last game of the regular season already guaranteed a spot in next week's state tournament, but they were up against a desperate Plymouth squad hoping to clinch the third and final seed with one more win. And Post 22's defense didn't make things easy on their opponent early, with some solid play by Kimball Union's Kyle Hammond in left, and even stronger pitching from Cardigan Mountain's Trey Parker. Lebanon fed off that momentum offensively in the second inning, as a walk to Proctor Academy's Matthew Braley set up this timely double off the bat of Lebanon's Matt Sullivan that plated Braley for the game's first run. Unfortunately for Post 22, however, Plymouth responded in the third when this misplayed grounder to shortstop resulted in a run scoring from third in a 1-1 ballgame. Parker fielded his position well to limit the damage in the inning, but Lebanon's bats couldn't amount a rally despite the best efforts of Mascoma's Anthony Sperry, whose hustle here resulted in an infield single. Plymouth scored what proved to be the game-winning run on an infield hit of its own in the fourth, and added 3 more runs over the game's final 3 innings to round out the scoring. Lebanon will round out its regular season schedule tomorrow against Jaffrey, though the team is already assured the number 2 seed by virtue of its 12-4 record.
And on a professional note, the New Hampshire Fisher Cats fell short in back-to-back games for just the first time this month, thanks to its 4-3 loss to the Sea Dogs last night. The teams will go back at it again tonight with first pitch slated for 7 p.m. in Portland. That's been your look at local sports. I'm Mike Pizzone.
Thanks, Mike. Well, over the past week, we've brought you a variety of stories from both the Green Mountain State and the Granite State. Up next, we've got our Week in Review segment. News Director Lisa Connell and Mike Pizzone will discuss the biggest stories of the week from the Twin States. You won't want to miss it.
The YCN News continues in a moment.